Welcome to the BenderCasts Podcast. We're here to talk about some Dungeons and Dragons type stuff and deals. We go kind of into some rules and lore that you might not be thinking about off the top of your head, and then we kind of do some fun role play to give you an idea how you can do the scene yourself as a GM, or as suggested to your GM as a player, do it very friendly and politely. Share this video is what I'm saying. Podcast, whatever. And today, specifically, we're going to be talking about dragons, Dragonborn, and all the dragon races, but I'm going to pass that over to my co-host, Adam, to tell you a little bit more about that.
Hello, my friends. How are you doing today? We're going on, let's start off with dragons versus Dragonborn. How are they similar? How are they different? From my understanding, color and general looks is about where the similarities end and the differences really begin. Today joining us, we have Caleb, our resident expert, and then our guest, Zinder K.
Thank God he's here.
Caleb, could you go in a little bit about some of the main differences between dragons and Dragonborn?
Absolutely. So, if you've heard of this thing called Dungeons and Dragons before, you might have heard of this thing called a dragon. Big fire music lizard.
What?
Yeah, no.
No way.
So big winged fire-breathing lizard, sometimes 2 legs, sometimes 4 legs, depending on whatever. But in D&D, at least, a big difference of dragons is, sure, they can breathe fire, but they can also breathe ice, they can breathe acid, they can breathe poison, and they can breathe lightning.
Okay.
So that's something that's a little different than other dragon mythologies. Like Chinese dragons are those big, long, serpent-looking ones that can fly through the sky. And yeah, so then obviously with D&D, they're more of a European-style dragon where, like I described, the big, long neck, big wings, and just a stocky body with 2 or 4 legs.
Still drives me nuts that there are depictions of dragons all throughout ancient histories on different continents. I find that intensely terrifying.
We had a head start. All right, we were here for a long time before we were interrupted. Our good painting time, and so.
In case any of you needed to notice, our friend Zinder K is in the jungles of Vietnam right now.
Yes, currently. I appreciate them making it with the time difference, but you know.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, we certainly try, but we can circle back around a little bit here. You said sometimes 2 legs, sometimes 4 legs. From my understanding, if it has 2 legs, it is considered a wyvern or wyvern, however you, whatever the correct pronunciation is.
Yes.
Don't burn me at the stake.
Oh, I will, you witch.
Down below.
Yes, but in D&D at least, dragons have 4 legs and wyverns have 2 legs. But in other depictions, there are dragons, quote unquote, with only 2 legs that should be classified wyvern. But that is a different topic for a different time. Because here we're talking about dungeons, dragons, and dragonborns.
We're talking about the real life fake stuff here, people. And before we go into all the myriad of different dragons, which I know there are like a ton of different styles in the Dungeons and Dragons lore, I specifically want to know the difference between dragons and dragonborns, or how they're related, because I've literally been avoiding Google for 5 days now, and I want to know.
Well, so Dragonborn, just like dragons, do have a breath weapon, and that breath weapon will be dependent on what color they are. However, typically a dragon, based on their color, will also have some form of a alignment that kind of goes along with it. Dragonborn, oftentimes in lore, will get mislabeled. Let's say you have a red dragon who has they are a chaotic evil alignment, but that does not necessarily mean that a red dragonborn will have a chaotic evil alignment.
Okay. Are all dragons chaotic evil in general, or?
No.
Okay, good.
See, I believe, what was it? Was it a bronze dragon or a brass dragon? Was like a lawful good?
Gold dragons are lawful good.
Gold dragons are lawful good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And copper dragons are typically chaotic good. They like to play pranks on people. They'll literally hold you hostage until you laugh at their jokes.
I can relate to this dragon. This dragon I can relate to.
Yeah, Cinder
Wait,
is
we're
not
not
allowed
being
to
held
leave.
hostage now.
Nobody call the cops. It's fine.
Oh,
Okay, all right.
Okay.
So they've got their different colors. They got their breath weapons. Cool. You know, they don't brush their teeth. I get it. I don't do it all the time myself. But like, how are they related? Like, are Dragonborn like Dragonborn or?
no, Dragonborn are their own separate, completely separate race.
I said the wrong
than
thing.
Dragons. Yeah, they're their own race.
Yeah, whoa. Easy.
My
Easy
bad.
now.
They're a little faster, but they're the same.
Yeah, from my understanding of Dragonborn, a lot of them, all like they're different. They kind of have clans that they are part of, as where most dragons have a tendency to be solitary. Along with that, Dragonborn also are very, like I said, they're very proud, and they are not necessarily limited to a particular alignment. It kind of goes more to of a DM discretion or how the player wants to play said character, play said race.
Okay. Now, that's all well and good, especially because it's a player character. You know, they should be able to choose their alignment. But like, what is the specific relationship between these two? Like, are they literally born from dragons? Are they like a loose family? Do they come from a different type of lizard? Like,
So Dragonborns were created by dragons. Essentially, the dragons created Dragonborns to be slaves.
Oh, okay.
but
So,
what?
Out of their own DNA?
yeah, they
Oh.
dragons created them to be their own slaves because, you know, slavery is a huge topic in D&D.
Well, yeah, but okay. So, did they make them with their dragon parts or magic?
It's more magic based it's like, say a wizard does some spells to create some creatures or constructs or whatever. It's more dragons using magic to create life rather than using themselves. They don't birth them themselves. They don't hatch eggs of them. They created them from magic stuffs. And then the Dragonborn themselves can breed among themselves, but they're not bred from dragons directly.
Think in the Lord of the Rings, how they had the orcs that were more or less incubated within the mud. They were kind of created and molded to be a particular,
Like frogs.
yeah, and then from there turned into slaves from that point on.
Correct.
Unlike frogs.
But we're talking like slaves for the dragon, right? Like, he's not creating
Yes,
just
like,
to
yeah,
sell off.
serving the dragon specifically.
Okay.
Okay.
So then, just over
Interesting.
thousands of years, enough dragons died off, and all their slaves either ran away, maybe, and then they just populated the globe, essentially.
Yeah, they became their own societies free of dragons because there's some people, some cults that love worshiping dragons. It's like the cult of Tiamat, obviously worships Tiamat, but there's very few Dragonborn who worship or even acknowledge the power of dragons. They hate them for enslaving them in the first place. So that's why they had this strong desire to set off on themselves and do their own thing. They don't need a dragon to worship. They don't need a dragon for power. They've got their own power inside themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's actually really cool.
And and so then that kind of brings us to, you know, a Dragonborn versus a half dragon. So obviously the dragons created the Dragonborn in sort of that way that I kind of described, akin to how Lord of the Rings creates orcs. In this case, it is a bit more, well, down and dirty, physical in that regard, how that works.
Less mud, more filth. Interesting.
all filth, all cock and bone.
Interesting.
Oh my.
But just like Dragonborn, they have their own breath weapon, and it is also akin to the color of said half dragon.
Wow.
They do have some traits more akin to full dragons than what Dragonborn possess.
Okay, so half dragons look like dragons, or they look like people?
They,
Like humanoid.
I guess, it's more up to interpretation, I think.
So I can make like a centaur half dragon, essentially, where it's like bottom half is a dragon, the top half is a person. You set up to interpretation.
Bottom half horse, top half dragon.
I would say the most common one, if it's like a first generation, like half dragon kind of deal, it's going to have a lot more dragon-like traits. You know, it might have more of the face, more scales, wings, but standing on two legs, having a longer tail with more scales and spikes, I guess, I would say probably the closer interpretation to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a big distinction between half dragons and Dragonborn that pisses off a lot of people is that Dragonborn don't have tails.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
wait, really?
everyone wants to give them tails. Yep.
Mhm.
And they don't have wings either. But half dragons oftentimes are depicted with tails and with wings.
Really?
But half dragons don't have to be that way, because half dragons there's different ways to create them.
Mm.
One way is the down and dirty way, where a dragon polymorphs into a human form or a humanoid form and produces offspring with other creatures who are not dragons.
Very
So
Greek
that's
god of
one
them.
way a half dragon can be created. Or, like I said before about using magic to create dragon stuff, this is more of a wizard who is trying to do something with dragon scales, dragon blood, or whatever, and fuses that together with a different creature. So that's where it might be more bestial, might be like half dragon, half centaur.
So just
That's where
making a
you're gonna get those-
chimera, kind of, but like actually being
Yeah.
successful.
Oh.
It's gonna look a lot more chimeric, a lot weirder than just bipedal.
Okay, because the
kinda
first
like
time when
that.
he mentioned it, I pictured like an owl, like what were those lizard people from Skyrim, the Algorians or whatever the hell they are.
Argonians, yes.
Argonians.
Oh yeah, those guys. That's what I pictured when he was pronouncing it, more upright humanoid type, maybe a bit of fire blast on him, but other than that, that's what I kind of pictured.
Yes, so Dragonborn, yes,
That
that's
can vary,
definitely what
actually.
Argonians look like.
Yeah. Huh.
Minus the tail.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Are half
Everybody
dragons?
wants that tail.
Everyone's always chasing
Head?
tail.
Get tail.
Status.
Let's flip a coin. Heads I get tail, tails I get head.
I flipped it and it's on its side. What now?
We've currently,
69?
we've currently ran out of coins due to the war, but we'll be back.
Gotta
We'll
melt
be
them all down.
right back after
Yeah.
these messages.
my last two.
I don't know if we should say schmeckles.
I'll get
So,
I'll get a return on these two.
and
Shillings.
kind of circling back to the whole like a first generation half dragon versus, let's say, now that half dragon then produces more offspring with non-dragonoid and whatnot, non-dragons. So
Yes.
now you have kind of that quarter and eighth.
Funny you mentioned that, because actually half dragons can't reproduce that naturally.
Oh,
They're essentially, think of them like mules, where
Or
mules,
ligers.
sure, they're born, but they can't produce more offspring themselves.
Okay.
So then that's where they might become that crazy wizard who splices dragon blood and a goat or whatever. The dragon goat.
Gotcha. Okay, so a half
the
dragon cannot breed
Correct.
with by conventional means of any sort.
Correct.
Okay.
And whereas Dragonborn can breed just fine by themselves.
Yeah.
Sorry, with others. They're
you
not.
know,
They
okay.
don't have a bug growing off of them.
Hell yeah. I mean, they want, but
They
wouldn't-
are asexual.
They could if they want, but they wouldn't get anywhere, you know?
Seems like a serious
And so-
design flaw by the dragons to give him that ability. Like, all right, he's got legs, he's got arms, he can shoot fire. What should I give him next? I don't know, maybe a dick. Like,
How about something to reproduce and outnumber us? Like, fair enough.
it's a great idea.
I mean, have they not watched Jurassic Park? Ugh.
Life.
The
Finds
X-rated
a way.
version.
Finds a way.
Oh my.
The T-Rex comes out and just hits the sunroof. It's like, Jesus, it's a sack. Oh my God.
Oh jeez.
Oh,
He gets-
yeah.
He
The
gets it
corridor
stuck in
digital.
the door. That's why he yells.
The corridor
I've
digital
heard
guys, they did a great
teabagging, but
X-rayed
not
version
potato
of it.
sacking.
Oh God.
Not,
Those
not a,
fucking hits stayed a lot better about 2 seconds ago.
All right. Okay. All right. So, what are some other things about Dragonborn that would be fundamentally different? Like more so like what they have. Like I believe both of them have dark vision, but half dragons also have like have another thing to do with their vision as well.
Yeah, well, Dragonborns don't get dark vision, which is unusual.
yeah.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah,
being
so
lizards,
they
you'd
don't
think
get.
just
They're
had
kind of
it.
like humans or halflings. You need light to see. Ugh.
Stupid
So yeah,
light.
that would be one of the big things then is a half dragon has dark vision while a dragonborn does not.
Yeah, so half dragon has dark vision and blind sight, similar to dragons.
Which I guess would make a lot of sense now that we've established that the Dragonborn were slaves created by dragons. Dragons probably didn't want them to have that kind of power in order to more or less overthrow them potentially.
Exactly. Shooting fire was too strong already, so they had to nerf them.
Interesting.
I want to go on a tangent here for a second because all this talk about different types of dragons and like overthrowing masters and stuff, that could be a pretty sick quest.
Yeah, it could.
Like a Django dragon movie.
Django, Dragon
Django.
Unchained.
He teaches him how to use the fireball. He gets his wings.
Well, no, just,
An old German dragon with a beard teaches him.
just imagine, all right? So you're going down the road, you know, and like just out of nowhere, this like Dragonborn just comes running out of the woods. He's like, help me, please. I escaped from my dragon master, but my family's back there, or whatever the fuck I have. Probably gold. I don't know.
I'm a dragon.
Being a dragon, that could be a part of its horde, if you will.
Gold, or if it's a very old virgin. Gold, the newest one. So.
You enter the dragon's lair, and its horde is not that of gold and silver, but leather and lace.
The old books. That was always that, of course.
Like actual leather and lace, or are we talking about something else?
Then the medieval times they got all PC and went gold. I know.
It just doesn't want to stay, does it?
I fucking hate it. It was fine 5 seconds ago, and now it's fucking.
All right. Okay, go on, Matt.
But yeah, just think about that, you know? So Dragonborn being treated as slaves very frequently by very powerful dragons. What do dragons have? Lots of treasure. What does your team want? Lots of treasure. Almost thought
They
you guys
wanna
would
get
say that
paid.
with me.
Treasure.
1, 2, 3.
Lots of treasure.
Treasure.
Oh my god. All right. So you're in town, you're on the road. It could be anywhere. All of a sudden you have some Dragonborn run up. He's covered in rags. He's got chains around his wrists and ankles. Like suddenly you got a quest to go do something somewhere cool. Tie that in with like a mini boss you got in the area, or make it next to a town that you're on your way for. It's an easy adventure right there for you.
Be cool.
Yeah.
Like a story redemption quest where you're trying to figure out this guy's backstory. You know, he's got a friend to save or a missus or something.
Or it's like, oh, hey, you know how my family, I escaped from a dragon and that's my background? Turns out he migrated to this area and he landed right here, smack dab in the middle of town. Do we go for our main quest or do we redeem my character and possibly get some loot? It adds a layer of depth, because you can always go back to that sort of quest, but at the same time, right there you've got an opportunity for the team to decide, do we want to keep doing what we're doing and keep pushing forward? Or are we going to let this character redeem themselves? Is this going to have effects later on? And it's a good way to just create a tense RP moment for your team. I mean, do you guys agree?
Question.
Yes.
You said the dragon appeared in the middle of town. Did it crush the tavern?
Of course not. Where else are your adventurers going to meet except at a
Well,
tavern?
then we ignore the dragon and go to the tavern. Come on.
Naturally.
It crushed part of the tavern.
Was it our special designated table?
No, but they did smash all the booze.
It was the beer supply, yeah.
Oh, we're killing the dragon.
We're killing the dragon. All right, we got this. All right.
Adventure time awaits!
To adventure! Oh, wait. No, adventure's this way. Hold on.
Oh my god. All
Guys,
right,
where's
so
the dragon? I can't find him.
just follow the path of acid that's burnt all our trees to cinders.
Going to Cinder Cove? That's how it got its name. Did you know?
We in Vietnam have drags, but they live in gone.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay.
They don't breathe fire, but they can burn you.
Oh my god.
No.
With cigarette butts. Not with
They burn you in
powers.
other ways.
Yes,
It's not. Audience, don't Google anything this man said.
All right.
Google anything.
So,
Use Bing.
all right. So you're in the middle of town. This dragon appears, destroys all the booze in the tavern because screw the party and everyone else living there, and as you and it takes off. Everybody's the party's pissed off. They're gonna go take care of this dragon, and this dragon is up on the side of a mountain. Is where it decided to make its lair. But unbeknownst to the party, all of a sudden, bam! A whole bunch of kobolds had laid a bunch of traps for them. The
They do
kobolds were
that?
there before the dragon, but they're not going to let a dragon let them go. Which actually brings us to kobolds. Like, where do they exactly fall in the spectrum? What defines a kobold? And how are they different from Dragonborn, from Half Dragon? Because obviously they are their own race.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody loves to make the jokes about pack tactics.
Yes.
Yes.
That's everyone.
It's great and has no disadvantages. Where's the joke?
So, kobolds are also have a pseudo alignment with dragons. Because, like I said before, Dragonborns were physically created by Dragonborns were created by dragons.
Yep.
And kobolds are not created specifically by dragons, but they have a god they call Kurtlemak. And Kurtlemak was a vassal, a servant of Tiamat. But with Kurtlemak, unfortunately, there's the god of the gnomes, Garl Glittergold. He stole a trinket from Tiamat's horde. So Kurtlemak was tasked with retrieving it from this Garly Glittery Goldie. I don't know why I called him that.
Natural.
I'm gonna have to make a whiteboard image show what happened. I got confused.
Yeah. Gargag.
Here's
Finish up. I want to hear the end of the story.
All right, so the god of the gnomes, he goes into this underground maze and tries to evade Kurtlemak, try to trap him in different ways, different areas. And then as soon as he gets super lost, Kurtlemak that is, then Garl Glittergold, he collapses the mountain around him. So he is stuck in this prison maze for eternity. So the kobolds were created from Kurtlemak, and for that reason, kobolds hate gnomes. They will attack them on sight. Normally very cowardly creatures, but if you see a gnome, they're gonna go ham on them.
Okay, filing that under next time I'm ever in the Underdark doing Out of the Abyss. put some kobolds down there. You have NPCs with you that will be attacked immediately. Great plot hook.
They are known to do that.
Okay, so they hate gnomes. They hate them so much. Terrible gnomes for stealing from them. But where do they come from exactly? I know you just gave the lore background, but like, are they sort of like Dragonborns, where like they're able to just make more of each other essentially, or are they also do magic stuff?
They are their own species, their own race. They can reproduce with each other.
Okay.
And they're one thing we didn't describe before. Dragonborns are typically human height, so usually between 5 and 6 feet, maybe a little taller than humans on average. And kobolds are a lot shorter, so that 2 to 4 foot range. So very similar to gnomes.
Very average. Very average. Very average in my opinion. Very average.
Yeah. Dragonborn are taller and heavier than humans, standing well over 6 feet tall and averaging almost 250 pounds. But you're still considered size medium for the board.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's where kobolds are that shorter size, more gnome size, and they have very dragon features. They've got their head is shaped like a dragon's, where the snout comes to a point. They don't have as long of necks as dragons, but they do have tails.
Little squat necks.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They do have tails.
Good for balance.
Still no wings though. The best part of the
Actually,
chicken.
a few kobolds do have wings. A few.
Oh, that's great. Winged kobolds.
Yeah, and they are essentially revered by kobolds because they are more like Tiamat than other kobolds, so they revere them.
The classes, the blue bloods.
Okay.
But then,
okay.
Yeah.
So usually the ones with wings are either like bosses or elite units in their group, essentially.
Exactly. They're seen as higher status than the average run-of-the-mill kobold. Speaking of run-of-the-mill, they also love tunneling, they love building, they love setting traps. So they're these little tinkers.
Nice.
So it's kind of funny because gnomes are also known for being tinkers, for making all these weird contraptions. And kobolds, even though they hate gnomes, are very similar to them, both in stature and in creativeness and cleverness.
Yeah, you had someone had said earlier that the kobolds set up traps. Adam, that was you, right?
Yeah, I mentioned that they like to set up traps. And they also have pack tactics.
Okay. So first off, please explain the pack tactic joke that I still don't understand. And then if you could tell me like what kind of traps and trickery they like to do, because I just picture kobolds and I'm like, oh look, it's just another goblin.
Think of pack tactics in the sense that, you're more powerful as a group, and especially because kobolds are considered small creatures, standing between about 2 foot and 2.5 foot tall, and only weighing 35 to 40 pounds on average. You got to make up for what you lack in size and strength in numbers. Hence, they have a tendency to, when they band together, have a tendency to be stronger. And some people also like to put 3 of them in a trench coat.
How else are they going to get into the R-rated movies?
Of course.
Okay, so pack tactics, if I remember how that works again, basically if you have an ally within 5 feet of you attacking the same enemy, everyone gets advantage, right?
Yes, you get the advantage if you have pack tactics yourself. So say if you do and your ally doesn't, you would get advantage, but your ally would not.
Yeah, that seems fair.
So you have to have the trait yourself in order to, but your ally without it can help you out.
Isn't there a feat that gives you pack tactics? I feel like that's a thing.
Not a feat, no.
No?
I mean, I think rogues would be the closest class to have pack tactics, if having an ally within 5 feet and giving you advantage, regardless of how far away you are, and decide that you might want to, be sneaky.
If you've got a rogue anywhere in the room, you've basically got pack tactics, because they're just going to start taking everything out.
Yeah. Well, the rogue gets its sneak attack from an ally within 5 feet, or if they have advantage. So if the ally's giving advantage, well, that's just, it doesn't double your sneak attack, it's just really guarantees you get it.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Okay. So, what kind of trick are you kind of expect from a kobold? What's he gonna throw at me? Is he gonna like hit me with a yo-yo in the face? Is he gonna shoot a bazooka at me? What does he do?
He's gonna roll a boulder down at you.
I have a World of Warcraft question. Do they have candles on their head?
They can.
Interesting.
If you put one there.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
DM
how high would you have to roll to put a candle on there successfully?
No, it's how high are you to put that on their head?
Interesting. All right.
So the question, were you serious about the boulder thing? Is that something they do, or is that just like?
Oh yeah. A boulder trap, stick traps, snare traps.
Nice.
Just digging a pit and just covering it up a little bit. They love setting traps.
Shout out KOBOLDs.
Kindred spirits, right?
Represent traps over here. My fellow KOBOLDs.
Oh boy.
They also love having little creatures. So say you have a skunk in a cage, they'll rattle it and try to spray it at you. Say they have a thing of bugs, they'll chuck at you and they'll start biting you. Throw a snake at you. They love doing little things like that too.
Okay.
So we know how kobolds and gnomes are going to interact with each other. Like they're just going to be at each other's throats. They're going to try to kill each other. It's just it's going to be the beatdown of a century. But like, what about kobolds encountering dragons themselves? Like, how would that interaction kind of be?
Oh, they would revere the dragon. Like, if they love their winged kobolds like they do, they praise the dragons.
I do remember there's a whole module that's kind of based around that. The Horde of the Dragon Queen.
I've not played that myself, but that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, maybe that could be something that we could run for some of our patrons.
That's a very real possibility. A full module game for patrons. You actually could join us on Discord and join Monday module games. I will be running them as regularly as humanly possible every Monday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time until about 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. So join Patreon, join the Discord, and you too can do a fun Dungeons & Dragons session with us. Potentially about like next week. I'm really starting to love this jailbreak from a dragon's horde to slave Dragonborn. So maybe that'll be next week. It's only $3.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. A dragon, a dragonborn, a half dragon, and a kobold walk into a bar. The kobold worships the dragon. The dragonborn refuse to serve drinks, and the half dragon tries to turn a kobold into another half dragon.
How common is that?
As common as the DM wants to make it.
Oh my god. That would be the most annoying like side enemy to show up every once in a while for that one Dragonborn on your team. Be like, hey guys, I'm good now. Come into my potion shop. Only you though, just the one I want.
See, there's kobolds and they have a bakery, and two Dragonborn come in and they're getting married and they want to bake a cake, and the kobolds refuse, and the dragons have to rule if they have to force to make the cake or not, and they had to.
I mean, if you come on with enough aggression and a natural 20 intimidation,
it's the wings, man. The wings. It's a sign of supremacy, I think.
Oh my god.
That's where the Dragonborns are lost. You know what I mean? They try.
Oh my god.
I think they have numbers.
Okay, so I would say that I'm getting a pretty good grasp on all these different guys here. Aside from the Dragonborn, are any of these races playable exactly?
Well, dragons themselves are not playable, but I think
That's a shame, but I understand why.
I do believe in one of the expansions you can play as a kobold.
Okay.
Is it the same one that like you can also play like bugbears and?
Yes, that's Volo's Guide to Everything. Or no,
Volo's Guide to-
Volo's Guide to Monsters.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's also Monsters of the Multiverse. That one also has a lot of races redone for. They try to improve on some mechanics in D&D or trying to streamline them into a certain style. So kobolds are also brought into that book as well, which they change up a few of their abilities.
And so here comes the important question. Pack tactics. They got it?
For the Volo's Guide,
Yes. There we go.
Mordenkainen's Monsters of the Multiverse, no.
Darn.
But they do have an ability called Draconic Cry, which means they give everyone advantage for 1 turn as a bonus action. And then that lasts for 1 turn, and they can use that ability proficiency times per long rest. So it's like pack tactics 2 to 6 times per long rest.
Interesting.
So
Maybe
to
the,
enact this
the-
amazing power, you just have to use a bonus action?
So you have to be within 10 feet of the target and then use a bonus action, but yes.
That's honestly better.
But pack tactics is infinite. You can use it as many times as long as there's an ally nearby.
I
That's
get
the
that,
difference.
but unless you're playing a certain set of classes and you have other teammates that play with you really well, I don't know how often you're gonna run into that. Maybe I'm
On the
crazy.
topic of classes, and me being the resident noob when it comes to D&D, what is considered, I guess, famously as a good starter class or starter book per se for a someone getting into it?
Especially if they want to
Well-
be either a kobold or a dragonborn. Let's try and keep it focused like that.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Well,
That's a broad.
as someone
is.
who has been in this a while, I always say, you know, get the player's handbook and look at that. But if you want to specifically play a kobold, then I think I would probably go for Volo's Guide to kind of give you like a better insight into it. And then if you want to experiment more, then getting other books.
See, I would figure like Dragonborn being a good one.
Yeah,
If you can
Dragonborn
play
is
those, is that
in the
playable?
player handbook.
Yeah, Dragonborn. Yeah, Dragonborn is one of the starting races that you can
Sick.
play.
Okay, very nice.
Yep. Always gotta have a dragonborn type in Western RPGs.
Hell yeah.
Or
Especially in
something
Skyrim.
Yes. All right.
I can't believe it. You're Dragonborn. Well, of course I'm a Dragonborn. Of course. What else would I be?
You know what?
Well, my manners. My name is Bozero, Professor Bozero, Professor of Botany and Mycology.
Meanwhile, the drow are looking at you like, you do realize you're still stuck in a cell, right? Hey, who are you trying to impress?
I thought he was just a really tall kobold.
Kobold, I am nothing like a kobold. They're too close to dragons for my taste, having tails and all. Besides, they're short.
You don't have a tail.
You can't grab onto anything, tail bliss boy.
Well, at least I can breathe lightning.
Says who?
Yeah, I don't believe you.
That is a 14 plus. What is it? A level 1?
I believe it's a dex save for the enemies.
We're getting the dice out. Hold on a second.
All right, pull out the dice. Let's go.
All right, one of those had to be a d20. A natural 1.
I got a coin. I'll flip it like Two-Face.
So yes, and as you breathe out this enormous, shocking blast of energy, not only does it scar your foes who are dumb enough to be holding onto the metal bars right now, but their skin and flesh and the electricity melt them away, creating a fiery red circle of melted iron for you to free yourself, with the drow easily defeated for their stupidity.
Now, I must say, it's been a pleasure, but I do have some... Oh, shit. It has been a pleasure, but I do have some research I must do. I will be hopefully never seeing you again. It has been a displeasure.
He says to the puddles of blood.
Just talking to the puddle of blood. Turns around.
Oh my god. And that
For
is one
those
way
of
to
you who
escape
are
out of the
not,
abyss.
don't understand that reference there, Adam's character happened to dissect a dragon wormling, so a younger one, and decided to puppet it around. It is as disturbing as you were thinking.
Hell yeah.
It's amazing.
It is glorious and glorious.
Speaks volumes to the enemies.
Yes.
We were playing psychological warfare that whole game.
Oh yeah, it was 100% psychological warfare.
I mean, there were a couple of kobolds that had natural ones in response to wisdom saves and just kind of lost all faith in everything.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so we've gone over how players can use these bad boys. We've gone over the different connections between all of them. Let's do a quick summary for the team in case you stuck around and still didn't understand everything like I didn't. AKA, please help me. Please.
All right, so we looked at the differences between dragons and dragonborns, along with the couple of similarities that they have. We know that dragons created dragonborn to enslave them. We also know that dragonborn do not have many of the same powers that dragons do, but they do have breath weapons. We also know that they are created in a different fashion compared to half dragons, which are either done in the sort of down and dirty way by polymorphing into a humanoid and then getting the jiggy on with non-dragons.
The old switcheroo.
The old switcheroo. Ha! Someone decided to play Zeus.
Zeus did do that. Yeah, I forgot.
Most of those Greek gods did it.
Just turned into a crow.
We also looked at where kobolds kind of fall into this category, and we know that kobolds are revere Kurtlemak and have pack tactics, and they also have tails, unlike Dragonborn, who do not have tails.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, on that note, we're hitting a timestamp here, so I'm going to say thank you all so much for coming out to BenderCasts Podcast. This is episode 2 right now. Episode 1 did not have our name in place. I want to thank my co-host Adam for keeping everything together and getting the topic all set up. Anything you want to plug, Adam?
First of all, hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you want to see more of this, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out and keeps us moving forward and creating more great content for you guys. Also, hit up that Patreon for special events and getting access to features not normally shown in the regular YouTube videos. Matt, what are some of those?
Podcast intros, podcast outros. If you just want to pay for one side, that's fine. It's going to be cheap to get all that stuff. Or you could throw me $3 and get yourself some great Dungeons and Dragons battle maps, especially for Out of the Abyss. They're all fantastically beautiful. We're also going to post all of our full one-shot sessions to the Patreon. We record those on Monday, which today is Monday. We're changing our recording schedule. So those will go out on Tuesday. And there will even be a live stream associated with that, potentially. I might be lying about that. But there will definitely be one-shots, and you could even be a part of it by getting on our Patreon and getting on our Discord. You could join us Mondays at 7 p.m. Central Standard for a one-shot that I run. So again, patreon.com/BenderBossGM. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Zinder K, our man in the jungle.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming out.
I'm getting called back to the war soon, so I have to. I gotta be gone here. But as always, feel free to check out our beautiful red light districts in either Pattaya or Bangkok. It's beautiful. It's safe. Don't pay attention to the bouncers wearing bulletproof vests. Either way, my name's Zinder K. Feel free to check out any of my videos. And
on YouTube, Zinder K on YouTube. Do you want to spell that out real quick?
Oh, you'll find it. I'm such a loser. I've been on. You Google it, and I've been on the internet so long that it'll like the first page. But yeah, ZinderK. It's like Zinder, but Zindergay. Like so, ZIN. Wait, yeah, no, ZINDERKAE. If you can't spell ZinderK, don't come and watch. Go pick up a book or something. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Arigato.
All right.
Into the jungle.
And again, thank you, Caleb, for coming out and being our resident expert.
That's what I'm here for, to be a disembodied voice on the internet with knowledge about just a few things.
Oh,
You educated me.
You'll be interested to see what I've been working on
Next time I'm
Wednesday
at the
when I
bar,
post this.
Next time I'm at the bar and some chick's like, hey man, hey daddy, tell me about that sweet fucking dragon shit. I'm gonna be like, oh, my friend already hooked me up. I know all about that dragon shit. So thank you. I'm glad I was invited.
Alrighty. If you're still watching, thank you so much for sticking around to the very end. My name is Matt, aka BenderBossGM, and this has been BenderBossCasts, a BenderBoss podcast. So thank you for coming out. That outro will get better. Bye.
Bye.
Wow.